Hey there everyone, and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be playing Tekkit 2, and I want to make a little tutorial slash exploration video of a concept that I came up with for a really secure door that I eventually want to build on the Tekkit 2 server for the Acidic Light community. Which, by the way, yes, we do have a Tekkit server. I set it up again. It's 2 inches from my knee. Anyway, that's another video, exploring the server, because I'm the only one who plays it right now, and I would really like other people to come join, and then it would be worth actually exploring what people make. But that server has no rules. I mean, the only rules I have on it is that player inventories are kept on death, and creepers can't blow up structures. That's the only thing I've done with the server. There's like no chest protection or anything like that. It's just you have to protect your base by any means necessary. And one of those means is building a door that only you can walk through. So how do we do that? Well, in Tekkit there's computer craft, or CC Tweaked as it is in Tekkit 2. And CC Tweaked obviously lets you create programmable computers that can emit redstone signals and stuff like that, and take user input in. And what a lot of people do is they'll create a door with a password lock on it, with basically a program running on a computer that when you enter the correct password, the door opens for a few seconds, letting you through. The problem with that is that requires a password, which means that there's a password stored on the game's servers. And in plain text. And that's not good. I mean, it's a video game, so who cares? But I care, because I'm also the developer of Socially Distant, which is a hacking game. Anyway, because I care so much about cybersecurity, obviously, I would like to build a door that, instead of using a password, it uses quote-unquote biometric authentication. And I say quote-unquote because what it really will do is it will use your Minecraft username to authenticate you. If you walk it through the door and you're in a certain range of a radar that detects you, then you're able to walk through the door. So that's what we're going to build. And I also want to explore wired modems as well. I've never done them before, and I think they might be able to help improve the design. So I'm going to set the time today.
Set the time to 1000.
So the very first thing that we actually need is a powered off, or not a powered off, not what I meant. A door that, when it's powered on, will be closed, and that's fairly easy to build. If we come up here, basically we put a redstone torch on top of a block, and there's a reason it's on top of a block, but we put a redstone torch down, and above that we put a block, and then we build kind of a door frame. Like that, and then what we do is we stand in the door frame and we face one of the walls. If I can actually get myself in there, that would be really nice. Oh my god, okay, I'm a little tipsy in the game. Okay, so if we face one of the walls and then face down and then right click, we can place the door in a closed state like that, and it's going to basically be powered by that torch, which causes it to open, but because of the way we placed it, the door being opened causes it to effectively close. And there's a reason we want to do this. Basically, if you place a button next to the door and try to click the button, it's not going to do anything because the door is already powered, and its powered state forces it to close. That's what we want, because we don't want people to just bypass the door with redstone. And that will be the case for any redstone source that you try to put next to the door. So that's good. So that's part 1. Part 2 is making it so that we can actually exit the base, and that's fairly easy to do. We build a little platform for the player to walk on, and we put a pressure plate down. The important part is that we put the pressure plate here and not right next to the door, because obviously we can't step on this pressure plate to open the door because the door's powered. and we can't route redstone down to this torch because there's just no way to do that. Well, I stand corrected. There is a way to do it by using panels from the Chisel mod, I believe. You can kind of panel off the redstone torch and then run a redstone signal down, but it's kind of complicated to do that, and it's just easier to put the pressure plate a block away from where you normally would, so that's what I've decided to do. Now that we have that pressure plate in place, we can go and build some blocks underneath, and we're going to put a repeater down. No, that's not a repeater. We're going to put a repeater down here, and next to the repeater, I'm going to run some red alloy wire. And theoretically, if we step on that pressure plate, it should now open the door. So that's getting out of the base. That's good. Now, on the other side, it's going to be a little different. And we have to be a little careful about how we build this, because we're going to be using a Computronics radar, and radars have a very limited detection range, and I don't know how to increase it. So that's where modems are going to come in. But basically, I'm going to build the same kind of setup with the pressure plate in the same spot, just on this side of the door. And basically what we need is a radar just below the door. So next to this this torch here, we can put a radar down. This is fairly easy to do. There's the radar. We're gonna put one right there, and then I'm gonna need a wired modem and some networking cable. This is gonna be how we get the radar hooked up to a server or something like that. And yes, this feels very weird to be placing network cable in Minecraft, but that's just how the mod works. Okay, so we don't need the button anymore, so we can replace that with the networking cable, and we need a wired modem, which we don't need the pressure plate anymore, so we can replace that with the wired modem. So I'm going to put the modem on the side here, and I think if you right-click it, no. Nope. There was a way to do it. I don't know what the way to get the modem to connect or give me peripheral name was. But anyway, I'm gonna run the wire. I've never used networking cable before.
Peripheral radar _0 connected to network.
Okay, radar _0. Okay, so if you put the network cable down and then right click on the network cable, then it seems to do it. And then it will give you a host name in the hat. So we'll remember that host name, and we're just gonna keep running this networking cable. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to build an area out so this is gonna be a wall. I'm a little bit blind, and that's not a joke. I am actually blind, so I'm surprised I'm able to play this as well as I can, but that will be why I'm making blocking mistakes, don't worry. Okay, so we're gonna keep building the area out. So as you can imagine, this is kind of representing the inside of our base now. Okay, so we're going to continue running that networking cable up, but first what we're going to do is we're going to place down a computer, and then I'm going to put the modem on the side of it, on the left side. And I'm going to put the networking cable down.
Peripheral computer _0 connected to network.
And then that computer now has a host name on the network. That's good.
Peripheral computer _0 disconnected from network.
That's not what I wanted to do. I am trying to figure out how to lay down that networking cable. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I don't know why it does that with right-clicking the networking cable while you have networking cable selected in your inventory. That's kind of weird. But yeah, right-clicking the networking cable will join whatever device is connected physically to whatever device is to whatever device is actually hooked up in the digital realm. Oh my god, I can't speak. I don't script my videos, by the way. I never will, because I can't read it. Okay, so these two devices are now hooked up with networking cable.
Peripheral radar _0 disconnected from network. Peripheral radar _0 connected to network.
Connect that to the network.
Peripheral computer _0 connected to network.
And then they're all connected to the network. Nice. So, this computer's gonna be representing our base's like central server, or domain controller if you are into Windows. Like I am for some reason. I've been really into Active Directory recently. But anyway, yeah, now we need to do some redstone stuff, because we need to make it
Set the
so
time
that,
to 1000.
when we step on the pressure plate, we need to be able to open the door. So, we're gonna set that up real quick. I'm gonna run some red alloy wire down from the pressure plate to an area. Okay, so we crawl under this networking cable, and walk around the networking cable, because you can't crawl underneath it. I'm silly. What is that? That is more networking cable that doesn't need to be there, okay? And we put a repeater down here. We're gonna need to build a redstone AND gate, and those are fairly simple to do, so don't worry. All we do is we put... Okay, this is not gonna work out the way I wanted it to. That's fine, we're gonna improvise. I'm gonna build the AND gate right here. The only reason I can't build it the way I normally did it was because of the networking cable that's very helpfully in my way. So, to build an AND gate, we put 3 blocks horizontally like that, and on the middle block we do just what I did and put a redstone torch off the side of the block, and then that's the output of the AND gate. Then for the inputs of the AND gate, we put a torch on this side, and a torch on this side, and a cable in the middle of the 2 torches. And that causes these 2 torches to be powering that redstone cable, which unpowers that torch, the output torch, and that causes the door to close again when this AND gate is not satisfied. So to satisfy the AND gate, we need 2 inputs. And the first input is going to be wired up to the pressure plate. Oh, ooh, careful. Almost short-circuited the end gate. Okay, there we go. So that's the first condition, is the pressure plate. Obviously, standing on that pressure plate is not going to get the redstone signal, or is not going to satisfy the conditions of the AND gate. But the next condition is actually going to be the computer. Now, this is going to be a little bit complicated. Effectively, I'm going to need to run some redstone underneath the computer, and I need to avoid this redstone wire right here, because that's the first condition of the AND gate. And the computer is up there, right above that redstone cabling, so that's going to be a little challenging. But there is a way around it. What we do is we come over here and sneak our way down. That gives us enough clearance, so we can now place red alloy wire 1, 2, 3, and that should be below the computer now. So we'll just snake the cable around. And then we connected it into input 2, and then there we go. So now we should be able to hop onto the computer, and just to verify that the redstone is working, we're going to hop into a Lua prompt and go redstone.setOutput. Bottom, true. And if all goes well, we should be able to come down here and first of all verify that this line is active, which it... oh, fudge, Windows. It does not appear to be. That's not good. Why is that not active? I don't think I placed cable there. That's why. Is it active now? I don't know. We're gonna go check. Yes, it is. So I just forgot one piece of cable, and that screwed the whole circuit up. Okay, so now we should be able to step on this outer pressure plate and have nothing work. That's great. What happened here? I placed cabling in the wrong spot. Okay. So that causes the door to open. Both pressure plates cause it to open. So, that's the redstone. Now for the programming. The programming's the fun part, because I'm a programmer. So we're going to set the signal low just to set the, or make sure the base is, you know, secure. And we're gonna exit the Lua prompt. Actually, no we're not. I want to check something first. So remember that radar host name. Local host equals to access local variables in later inputs, remove the local keyword. Okay. Remember the host of that radar. It was radar equals it was host radar _0. So if we define that as a variable, we should theoretically be able to do radar equals peripheral dot wrap host. And what I want to do is look at what radar is. So radar is pull items, push items. So we are getting functions. That's good. We have size. Suck. I don't know what that does, but Can't scroll. But we do have get players, we have get transfer locations, we have get mobs, get metadata. So yeah, it did pick up the radar, that's good. We connected it to the network. So that works really well. Now we're going to edit a program. And the program is going to be detect players. For now. Now the very first thing that we're going to do in this program is we're going to make it tamper-proof. By tamper-proof I mean that you can't press Ctrl+T to terminate the program and get back to a shell. You'll still be able to press Ctrl+R to reboot the computer, but there's another way we can get rid of, we can make that less of a vector for people to get into the computer. Obviously, you might want to find some way to protect against disk drives, because you could easily create a disk drive with a startup file and it would become a boot disk and it'd bypass your computer's program, and we don't want that. But in this case, I'm not going to worry about that because this is a single player world. But os equals os.pull event. os.pull event equals os.pull event raw will do the trick. It will make the program tamper-proof. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to define the variables for our program. So we're going to create a local variable, and I'm going to call it the radar location. And this is where you're going to put the host name of the radar. So in our case, it's going to be radar_0. But if you're not using networking, it's going to be a side of the computer. It'll be front, back, top, bottom, or left or right, depending on where you put the radar. But in my case, it's going to be a host name because it's on a network cable. That's going to be radar 0. And then local, the next thing we're going to need is the output location for the redstone. And that's simple. It's going to be bottom.
Backups, started backup.
Ignore that.
Backups, finished backup.
Just the game backing up the world. Now what we're going to do is we're going to define the player name that's allowed to join the is allowed to enter the base. Now there are ways you can do this. You could have a single player enter the base, or you could have a table of players enter the base. And I'm going to show you guys how to do it both ways, because if we do it with a table, then it means we can add multiple players. For example, your friends or your teammates or whatnot. But if we also do it as a table, we can just have it be a table of one element. And that's fine. But basically it will allow us to have, or allow any of the following players in the table to enter the base, which is probably what you want. So we're going to create a variable authorized players, and it's going to be a table. So in curly braces, I'm going to put my Minecraft username. Okay. And then we need to define a minimum distance, or a maximum distance from the radar. Because we placed the radar underneath the door, it can be fairly small. I'm gonna go with like 4 blocks. And that's how far away you can be before the door opens. Or before the door stops opening and stops detecting you. So that's good. Now we're going to actually connect to the radar by doing local radar equals peripheral .wrap, not weep or warp. We're gonna, oh my god, stop having a stork. Okay, radar location. And we need to make sure that we null check this radar, because we might, 2 things might happen which might crash our program. The first thing that'll happen is the radar doesn't exist, in which case it will be nil. And we want to check for that, because if the radar is nil, then it can't detect players, our program won't work. The second condition is that we do connect to a peripheral, but the peripheral is not a radar. For example, a monitor would be something that we could connect to. And a monitor can't find players. It can display things. So we need to be careful of that. So, this is fairly easy to do. If radar is equal to nil, or radar.getPlayers is equal to nil, then we can end the program, or we can end the if statement, and then inside the if statement, we're going to print a message. Print could not connect to radar on host, and then we concatenate the radar location. And then we can do a simple sleep for 2 seconds, and then os.shutdown. The reason I'm doing os.shutdown is, quite frankly, I don't know how to exit the program, but also, even if I did, I don't want this program to be tamperable. So if someone deletes the radar and reboots the computer, I would very much like for the program to just kill itself, and you can't edit the program. Unless you can't get onto a shell and mess with redstone. Obviously, if someone manages to break far enough into the base that they can mess with the computer, well, it might be in a secure location deep down in the base, and I will probably have killed them long before they get there. So that's something to keep in mind. Obviously, you don't want to have your central server just out in the open like this. You probably want to have it very deep in your base, and someone has to look for it. And you might have networking cable running deep into the base to get to it. So yeah. Anyway, now that we've done the null check and we've guaranteed that we have a radar, we can pop into a while loop. And in this while loop, the very first thing we do is we're going to sleep for 1/4 of a second. If we don't do this, one of two things will happen. If we don't sleep at all, then eventually the loop will terminate because of infinite loop detection, and for performance reasons, the game disables anything that ends up being an infinite loop without yielding. Socially Distant does the same with its shell. The other thing that could happen is if you sleep for 0 seconds, it will work, but the os.pullEventRaw thing will occasionally not work, and it's intermittent, and it's a bug with the mod. So we need to sleep for a tiny little bit. Now, we're basically sleeping for a redstone tick, so it's going to be fine. Anyway, now what we can do is we can go ahead and grab the radar's nearby players. So we're gonna do local nearby players equals radar.getPlayers. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to define a variable detected. We're gonna set that to false. And at the very bottom of the loop, we're gonna do redstone.setOutput. Output location, we're going to send it the value of detected. So on every iteration of the loop, if detected is true, then the redstone signal is going to be generated. Otherwise, it's going to be set low, and then the AND gate won't be satisfied. So that's what we want. Now what we can do is we can do a for loop, for underscore comma player name in pairs, authorized players do. Now, if there's a more elegant way of doing the for loop in Lua, please let me know. I'm a C# programmer. I don't do Lua. It's the only way I know how to do it. But I am definitely open to learning. But anyway, this is going to iterate through every player name in the authorized players list. Now we're going to do the same thing inside the for loop, another for loop, and we're going to iterate through the nearby players. So for underscore comma nearby player in pairs nearby players do end. Now, first thing we're going to do, we're going to check to make sure the nearby player, the name, matches the player name. So if nearby player dot name is equal to player name, then we're going to check, so and, that the nearby player's distance is less than or equal to the max distance. Then detected equals true. Break. So that's going to break out of the inner loop, but obviously we're going to keep iterating through players, and that's probably not good for performance. So if we break out of that inner for loop, we're going to check if detected, then break, and then that will break out of the outer loop, and then we will get immediately jumped to the redstone set output method. So let's run detect players and see what happens. So as you can see, it looks like it's hung. We're not getting a shell, nothing like that. And if we try to hit Control T, it terminates. That's great. It's doing the thing again. So if that happens, you might want to increase your sleep value to something higher. I suspect that it's based on your game's frame rate and tick rate, so be careful. If you run into that issue, you will have to increase the sleep timer. Yeah, okay. Let's do another test. Yeah, so 0.5 seems to work in this case. So let's leave the program running, and we're gonna go check that the redstone signal gets set. Now, we won't see it being set right here, but if we step probably a little bit closer to the radar, we're probably gonna see it get set. Or not. I'm like standing right next to the radar and I don't see it getting set. Actually, I do believe that signal is live. So I'm gonna try stepping on the pressure plate. And it does, in fact, open the door. Alright, okay, so let's test out adding a different player to the allowed players list. So authorized players, instead of desire to leave, I'm gonna pick on my friend 11 Pixels, put his name in there, and then we're gonna do detect players, and theoretically, because I'm not 11 Pixels, I should not be able to open the door. And I can't, because it's not my username. Now, theoretically, I should also be able to add myself to the permitted list. So we could come down here and add another entry to the array. So we'll allow 11 Pixels and desire to leave to enter the door. And if we run detect players and step on the pressure plate, the door opens because I'm desire to leave and I'm allowed through. So yeah. Now another thing you could do is, and I'm going to explore it in this video, is we could have the radar detect mobs, and if it detects any mobs nearby the door, you could sound off an alarm. So just to demonstrate that, I'm going to switch to not game mode.
Set game difficulty to normal.
I'm gonna go normal difficulty, and then I'm gonna build an area where I can spawn in a mob, and hopefully will not blow anything up or break anything. So I'm gonna set some game rules to make sure that this works out effectively. So we're gonna do game rule mob griefing false.
Game rule mob griefing has been updated to false.
That's what I did on the server, by the way. We're gonna do toggle downfall because screw the
Toggle
rain.
downfall.
And we're gonna do summon.
Object successfully summoned.
So there's Creeper there. He's probably not too thrilled that he can't blow up right now, but, you know, we're gonna make sure that, so we're gonna actually go into our creative inventory, and I'm gonna find a howler alarm. That's a block that takes a redstone signal in, and if that signal is set high, then the alarm will trigger and play a ear-piercingly loud sound. And I'm gonna put it on top of the computer. So we can go into the menu, and we can set the sound and the range of the alarm. So we're going to set the max range, and there's 3 alarm sounds. There is default, there's sci-fi, and there's siren. Siren is like a nuclear, or not a nuclear, a tornado air raid siren, which I personally like the best. It's not a continuous loop, but I like it a lot better than the other two. So we're going to use that one, and theoretically we should be able to hop into Lua and do redstone, got set output, and I'm going to do top true, and warning, this will be loud. This is your final chance to turn the volume down if you have it on 100. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's not as loud as I thought. But basically, we're gonna script the computer to set this signal live. So there we go. How we do that is, I'm gonna connect to the radar from within Lua. So radar equals peripheral dot wrap, not warp, wrap, radar 0. And I'm gonna do radar dot get mobs. And we have none. Let me try 50. Okay, and then radar to get dot get mobs. There's still no mob there. Why? Creeper? Where did you go? Where'd the creeper go? Perhaps I didn't build a wall large enough, and the creeper climbed over. Yeah, I can see him over there. Evil creeper. Won't explode or anything, but he'll just walk away. Well, walk away this time, buddy.
Object successfully summoned.
Okay, let's run the command again and see if we find a creeper. Okay, so there's there is a creeper nearby, and what we can do is we can go back into our edit detect players.lua. We can create another array. So local mobs equals and then an array, and we can put in the name of all of the mobs that we want to detect. So maybe zombie, skeleton, enderman. Trying to think of other ones. Witch. And Illager, I guess, maybe? So I'm gonna put those in the list, and you know what, for good measure, I'm gonna summon an Illager. And I can't summon a zombie or an enderman. The enderman will just teleport, and the zombie will die. Same with the skeleton, they will die in the daytime, so I don't want to do those.
Unable to summon object.
Unable to summon an object Illager. I don't think an Illager is in the game. Okay, what was I thinking of? I don't know. There was some weird mob that I kept seeing on the server that I wanted to summon in.
Unable to summon object.
It's not Pillager.
Unable to summon object.
So I don't know what it is, but there's some mob that it's on the server, and I don't know how to spawn them in, but if I saw them on the server, I would know it. So instead, I'm gonna do a witch and spawn them in.
Object successfully summoned.
A creeper and a witch inside the same spot. That's good. Okay, so we're back into detect players, and we're gonna detect players, and whoops, I'm gonna do local nearby mobs equals radar.getMobs, and I'm also gonna need another location variable for the alarm location. And we know that it's on top of the computer, so there we go. Now, after we've detected players, first of all, we're going to set the redstone output for the alarm. To a value mob detected. So we're going to create that variable. So mob detected equals false. Also, I'm remembering another mob that needs to be added to the list of mobs. So since I couldn't get an Illager to spawn, because apparently that's not in the game, even though I could have sworn it is, we're gonna replace Illager with spider. There we go. So if a spider spawns in there, then we'll know it. Okay, so now let's do the mob detection. It's basically the same logic as players. So for under, then comma mob in pairs mobs do. And inside the for loop for the mobs, we're gonna do for under nearby mob pairs nearby mobs do, and then inside that for loop we're going to say if nearby mob dot name is equal to mob, then mob detected equals true, and break. And then for performance reasons, we go at the bottom of this outer loop and do if mob detected then break. And I can hear a skeleton in the background, which is actually good, because it will demo exactly what I want to do with this script. So we'll do detect players. And there we go. We have an alarm going off because there are mobs nearby. And if we do kill at E type equals not player.
Killed witch. Killed creeper. Killed skeleton.
Chat with kill messages,
killed enderman.
But you can hear that
killed enderman.
The alarm
killed creeper.
Has gone off.
Killed spider.
Now you
killed
might
spider.
Be able, now you might
killed
want
husk.
To actually make
killed
it so
creeper.
That if there's a mob
killed skeleton.
nearby, then it doesn't let the door
killed
open,
skeleton.
even if you're the right
killed
player.
spider.
That might be beneficial.
Killed husk.
Depending on how you want to set up your base.
Killed zombie.
But I'm not going to do that.
Killed husk.
That is the thing you can do.
Killed skeleton. Killed zombie. Killed zombie.
I don't know what a husk
killed
is.
creeper. Killed creeper. Killed skeleton. Killed enderman. Killed skeleton.
Hearing all the
killed skeleton.
Names.
Killed creeper. Killed skeleton. Killed skeleton. Killed spider. Killed skeleton.
So many
killed
of them.
spider. Killed skeleton. Killed skeleton. Killed spider. Killed skeleton.
Come on, narrator.
Killed skeleton. Killed creeper. Killed creeper. Killed spider. Killed skeleton. Killed spider.
What is with the green?
Killed skeleton. Killed creeper. Killed spider. Killed spider. Killed husk. Killed skeleton. Killed husk.
Okay, that's gonna take
killed zombie. Killed spider. Killed creeper. Killed spider. Killed husk. Killed spider. Killed spider. Killed spider. Killed creeper. Killed skeleton. Killed spider. Killed zombie villager. Killed husk. Killed skeleton. Killed husk.
It might
killed
be
spider.
The zombie villager.
Killed creeper.
Let me find out.
Killed spider.
That might be the
killed
one
skeleton. Killed skeleton. Killed spider. Killed husk. Killed husk. Toggled downfall. Unable to summon object.
Thanks, game. I don't think it's zombie villager, all one word. It might be zombie _ villager. I'm not very familiar with.
Object successfully summoned. Object successfully summoned.
Yeah, okay. Those are what I was thinking of. That's the mob. That's what I thought was an illager. Okay, so I no longer feel stupid. We can now edit the program. So edit, detect players. And under mobs, I'm gonna add zombie villager. There we go! So now, we should be able to go with time set day.
Set the time to 1000. Set game difficulty to peaceful.
So that's how you kill them off without spamming the chat. Okay, so yeah, this is a very neat door, because not only does it only let players through, but now it actually detects if there are mobs trying to enter the base, and it will yell at you. So that might be very interesting. You could probably adapt this to many different designs. All it is 2 pressure plates, and then one of them is wired into an AND gate, with the AND gate being satisfied by the program. It's a radar on a network running through a program, and to get out of the base, it's just a direct connection to the output of the AND gate, so that the door opens no matter what. So this will do a pretty good job of keeping your base secure. The next idea I have that I'm going to go through in the next video is actually creating a kind of barbed wire type defense. Basically a reinforced wall with a bunch of HV cables inside it, so that if you try to dig through the wall, you will get shocked to death before you make it through. So that should be fun to do, but that's going to be the next video. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys this little design and how I built it. And with that said, as always, I've been Michael, even though everyone calls me Richie. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you learned something, and I hope you join the Tekkit server if you're into playing Tekkit 2 and creating things like this. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.